So this is Mark Ferguson from Cycling Maven, and this is some GoPro footage from the St Kilda A-grade men's Criterium run yesterday. It's the first race of the season, the 2015-16 summer Criterium, so we're all pretty excited. There was a lot of people there to spectate and to race, and everyone was pumped. It was a beautiful day, really nice weather, and just I think there was a lot of high spirits in general. So we've got a lot of footage here, GoPro footage. I've got one on my chest and I've got one under my seat looking back. I've synchronized them so that we can look at what's going on all around us. And I've also put power, speed, heart rate and cadence overlay on both the front and the back footage. So a bit of work's gone into this. Hope my boss doesn't see this video because they'll be asking me what I've been doing. But yeah, so we've got some big teams here. Charter Mason there on the left hand side. You can see there's quite a few of those boys. They're probably Australia's biggest NRS team, and so a lot of really good riders in that team. We also have some African Wildlife Safari riders, Physio Health. So there's some big players in this race. Everyone's sort of come out of the woodwork to have a crack at the first crit of the season at St Kilda, and I'm looking forward to doing the other clubs as well: Hawthorn, Carnegie, Caulfield, and a few of the others. So here we go, first lap done. It was sort of a bit of a neutral lap, and then bang, it's game on. We've really stepped it up to 50 k's an hour here. And so look, I'm going to narrate some of this footage probably for the first 15 minutes, and then I'll ease off through the rest of the footage, just so you can watch it and listen to the music and sort of pick up your own tips. And then I'll narrate the last probably 4 laps of the bike race. But the reason I've put the full race up is so that people can sit on their trainer, sit on their trainer at home and watch the full thing in their own time. So I've managed to stay at the front here, or pretty much close to the front. You know, I think it's important, as I've said in previous videos, to stay as close to the front as possible. It's not necessarily that important early in the race, but being the first crit of the season, everyone's always a little bit edgy. There's a little bit of anxiety and stuff, so you don't want to get caught up in a crash. And the best way to not get caught up in a crash is to stay towards the front. So I'm trying to do that to the best of my ability, and you can see I've sort of let the wheel go here a bit because the hammer's gone down 52 k an hour, and the boys are really starting to stomp on the pedals here. I'm not messing around. Some gaps opening up, the bunch is single file now, so we're not messing around. But look, this is exciting. Like, this is, you know, I remember thinking in this first couple of laps, just thinking, man, how awesome are Criteriums? How awesome is summer? And so I'm really excited for some of the racing that's coming up over the next few weeks. And, you know, the Melbourne cycling clubs do it so well. There's 4 races a week if you want to. So you can see some boys heading down the outside here. Now you can see I was 5th or 6th wheel there at one stage. And because I was in the middle, all of a sudden I've just been absolutely swamped by about 40 riders, and all of a sudden I'm halfway down the pack or near the back. So staying at the front, as you can see, for the beginner cyclist, staying towards the front is not an easy task. And so you've got to pick your moments. Now I'm sort of way back. I've got to pick my moment to move forward, and moving forward at 46, 47 kilometers an hour is not the best time to do that. So I'll sit here, I'll just bide my time, sit on some wheels here, and then sort of wait until everyone sits up, and then I'll just move forward and make up a few places. So far so good. No one's sort of clipped a pedal through any corners, or everyone's looking after each other. There's lots of chat. There was no aggro in this race from what I could tell. There's Lee Turner, St Kilda Club President, right there in the Charter Mason kit right behind me. He's just dishing out some banter to me. So you can see the wattage. This is my wattage from my SRM power meter. It is pretty accurate. You know, SRMs are probably the market leader in power meters. So you can see this sort of, it's a funny thing, Crits, because you sort of lay on the power out of the corners, and then you sort of sit up and you're off the power again. So Criterium's a heart rate management. You know, you smash the power on. You can see here banging up to 600, 700 watts, 800 watts, nearly 1,000 watts, and then you sit up, you know, after a little while, and then we sort of ease off the pedals, and then into the next corner. Okay, so it's about getting you, looking after your heart rate, trying not to build up too much lactic, looking after yourself, and then just keeping that heart rate at a manageable level and the lactic at a manageable level. If I was to be sitting on the front here smashing off the front, I can assure you that I'd be going backwards through the bunch very quickly. And that's quite often how guys get spat out the arse, or you know, guys or girls get spat out the arse of a bike race, is they smash it on the front, and then the bunch comes past them and they can't grab onto the back. So, good mate of mine, Paddy Gill, here on the right, loving that peddler kit there on the right hand side, black helmet. Peddler is a clothing brand here in Australia, so I recommend you guys go check them out on their website. I'm not sponsored by them, I just like their clothing and just giving them a little bit of a plug. So again, out of this corner, bang, with, you know, wattage. I mean, it's not just me, it's everyone here. We're all smashing on the pedals, and then you sort of come through the start-finish line here and still sort of pushing on the pedals a bit. You know, a good benchmark is about 300 watts. 300 watts, you're pushing on the pedals hard, and it doesn't matter what weight you are. You know, like 300 to 400 watts is, it doesn't matter what weight you are. It's you know, 4 to 6 kilos watts per kilo, and it's still pushing pedals. So you can see we're on again, off again, down to 42 k's an hour. My heart rate's at 169. My max heart rate is 183 beats per minute, so it's up there. But I'm just trying to keep my cadence high. You can see I'm at 107 cadence. A lot of very common mistake new riders make is they put it in the big chain ring and they push a really, really big gear, and the cadence is often too low, and they just gas their legs before the finish of the race. So I recommend to new riders, when you're coming in, try to spin as much as possible, and that'll save your legs for the duration of the race, and then you can have a bit of a sprint at the end. So just saying hello to Wade Wallace there from Cycling Tips. He's just getting on the bike after a bit of a layoff, so it's good to see him back racing again. I think he's had a few years off, so it's good to see. So you can see I'm just touching the Total Rush guy there, just on the bum, just to let him know where I am. You know, there's nothing. I'm not grabbing his ass or getting creepy, but you know, just letting him know that I'm just on his outside there. I don't want to sort of go into the cone, so just a polite way. And there was a lot of that going on. Now, for some reason, up to nearly 1300 watts there, I've jumped across this gap, and then I've kept going to jump on the back of the Charter Mason boys up the road. I've just squeezed through that gap. It's a bit hairy, but there's 3 Charter Mason boys in front of me, and I've decided to keep pushing across to them. Now, this is a classic example of getting your ambitions mixed up with your abilities, because I've gone across here. You can see we've put a bit of a gap into the field, and you know, 600 watts that's put me in the absolute hurt house. I'm up to 184 beats a minute. I've actually realised that I've got a higher heart rate than I thought I did, because my max heart rate previous to this race was 183 beats per minute, and now I'm up to 186. So I'm hurting, really hurting here. We're just passing C grade on the left-hand side. They run 2 races concurrently here at the club just to get through the grades, which is great. But you can see there's 3 guys here with me, and I am literally in the house of pain trying to hang on to this wheel, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Still at 186 beats a minute, and this was the point that I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the bunch. So I just thought I'd come across, say good day to the boys, see if they need any water, any food, and then just pop back to the bunch and carry on as normal. So this is the rest of the A grade bunch catching up. I've sat up. I mean, literally, that was, I don't know what I was thinking there, but this is actually quite a good shot to see the whole bunch sort of coming up on me. Now I'm still at 181 beats a minute here. I'm hurting bad, and I'm thinking, am I going to be able to jump on the back of this bunch here? But you know, this is where new riders, again, if you're coming into the sport, if you can just jump on, like I'm really hurting here, right? So I just try to jump in, push on the pedals a bit, just try to stay with the group as long as I can. And after a while, you recover. So if you can just grit your teeth for a little while, you will recover, and then you'll be fine. So it actually, I remember this point right here, and you need to be, you know, like I was hanging on for 3 laps, or 3 or 4 laps. I was suffering, just trying to stay in here, because that effort I did was just probably unnecessary. I don't know what I was thinking. But the hammer's still down here. We're flying along at 52 kilometers, 53 kilometers an hour. And my heart rate's still right up there. So I've got the lactic in the legs. I'm just gritting my teeth, just trying to push through this bit. But as I say, eventually they sit up. And if you can just hang in there through this bit, you'll be fine. You can see my heart rate's coming down a little bit now. Bunch is sort of coming together. You see when the bunch gets fat like that, they're all sort of sitting up. So everyone's sort of laid off the pedals now. Look at my power, not pushing on the pedals, recovering. Almost a crash here on my left. So that's what can happen when everyone sits up and you sort of go through those turns. But fortunately, everyone's got pretty good skills. I'm not sure if you're seeing this. The footage is a bit jittery on my end, but I think that's just my computer was struggling at the time. So I apologise if you can see this. It fixes itself up in a little while. So next race, I would like to put the GoPros on one of the girls for their A grade criterium. So if you've got any suggestions of good female cyclists who might want to put the GoPros on and maybe narrate some of the footage, I'd love to hear from you. So the bunch is sort of sitting up here. I'm right at the back almost. You can see there's quite a lot of riders. There were 63 riders who were nominated for this race in the end. And a lot of these riders are doing the Melbourne to Warrnambool, which is an Australian classic. It used to be the longest one-day bike race in the world, and they recently shortened it. So that's coming up on the 17th of October, Melbourne to Warrnambool. You should Google that if you're not from Australia. Just have a look at it. Awesome race, very prestigious race to win in Australia, and I could imagine that a lot of the bike riders here are training hard for that. 265 kilometres, or 275 I think it is now. So you can see there's a lot of riders here in this bunch. Big pack, a lot of class. So there's the beautiful city of Melbourne in the background there. As you couldn't get a better location for a crit race, there's no doubt about it. Although the other clubs have some great circuits. So Hawthorn have a little a short little circuit with a sharp little hill in it, and that one always tests. It's fantastic training every Wednesday night. So if you're in Melbourne, you want to do a Wednesday night crit, check out Hawthorn's Criterium. It's pretty much I think it's starting this Wednesday. And Carnegie Caulfield obviously run their Glenvale race, and then Sandown on Tuesday nights. So lots of racing, really looking forward to it. There's quite a few other crits on as well, so you can really overdose on racing in Melbourne. So if you're thinking about moving to Melbourne and from another city in Australia, get your ass over here, because I tell you what, you won't get better racing anywhere in Australia. So for the beginners, again, when you're looking at the bunch, you can tell when the bunch is, stomping on pedals, when they're all strung out. You can see when they get fat like this, and when they all come together, that's when they're sort of easing off, and that's the perfect time to move forward. So if you ever wanted to make up places, it's when everyone sort of sits up and the bunch fattens up. And that is really the only time. I watch guys all the time in bike races going down the outside when the bunch is single file, and they storm down the outside, and I just think to myself, what are you doing? Like, what a waste of energy. So time, be smart. A massive part of winning a bike race, especially a crit like this, is your smarts. There's people in this race who aren't quite as fit as the others, and being smart, wise bike riders, they can win the race. So it's not necessarily about the fittest bike rider in the race when it comes to criteriums, and that's partially why I like crits, because I can draw on my experience rather than go out and smash 1,000 k's a week. And I can imagine there'd be quite a few other riders in that situation. There's a lot of experience in this field. Rico Rogers, very fast sprinter. Shannon Johnson, so from Charter Mason. So, that's just to name a couple of names. There's probably 15, 20 riders who are just absolute classy riders here. So anyone looking to get into bike racing, I would say don't be scared. This is A grade. Obviously, this is something that you're going to work to, but this GoPro footage obviously makes it look pretty hairy. But I can tell you, in the lower grades, particularly in the start-out grades, it's obviously not as hairy as this. And the pace, you get a lot of help from the club. I think the club supplies. I'll just interrupt. That guy going backwards there, he punched or something. So when someone punches at 50 k's an hour, it's the best thing to do is hold your hand in the air, and the most important thing to do is to keep your line. And when I say keep your line, keep going in a straight line. Don't deviate, don't turn left or right, because that's how crashes happen. So if you get a puncher mid-bunch like this, always just put your hand in the air to let everyone know behind you that you've got a puncher, and keep a straight line. Anything other than that can cause a massive crash. So just be smart about it. Yeah, so as I was saying, the club, I know for a fact, St Kilda provide coaching, and I'm not trying to sell anything for St Kilda. I just love the fact that they run these awesome races. So I like to give awesome people a plug. But St Kilda provide coaching, and they certainly provide some instruction in the lower grades. So definitely get on board with them, and I'm pretty sure the other clubs do too. So it's not as scary as it used to be. This is what I'm saying to you. It's not as scary as what it used to be to get into racing. So even if you've got any questions, you can fire me an email, and I can put you onto the right people. Cycling Victoria, happy to help out as well. And just get into it. We need more people in racing. We just want this sport thriving over the next few years. So here again, the bunch is fattening up. The worst place to be when this happens is in the middle of the bunch, because you just get swamped and all of a sudden you're in last position. So it's always best when the bunch comes together like this and it gets a bit fat, just to work your way to the outskirts of the bunch so that you can keep moving forward. You can see again there, Adrian just pushes, I can't remember his name, but just gives him a little nudge just to push him in. You know, this is the best part about these guys, is that everyone's looking after each other. We're just trying to make sure no one crashes. And you can see I just give that guy a little push just to get him in the slot there. And this is what it's all about, just looking after each other. I want to go to work on Monday with no bark off the elbows and knees. You know, I'm not a professional cyclist. I'm not getting paid to do this, so it's just nice to keep all my skin on. So you just got to look after each other. And that pedaling through corners is another thing I'd like to talk about. You know, you can see a lot of us are pedaling through corners, but that's a lot of us are very experienced bike riders, and we certainly don't pedal through corners when we're travelling at as fast as we can. But I suggest in the lower grades just to keep the pace, like push on the pedals into the corner, don't pedal through the corner and then push on the pedals out of the corner. So you only have to freewheel for, you know, a second. I've seen a lot of crashes. I've seen a lot of pedals hit tarmac, and I've seen a lot of crashes over the years from people pedaling through corners. So there's Wade Wallace again on the right hand side at Cycling Tips. Awesome website. I got a little bit shitty there at the bike bug guy, because he sort of come in on me a little bit. And you see, you know, but that happens. I mean, he didn't mean that. It happens in racing. You get squeezed into positions, and you find yourself in precarious situations, but you know, you can generally manage it okay. So this is where I'm going to leave the narration for now. I hope you enjoyed my comments. I'm going to turn the music up so that you can get on with your training. And I'll stop crapping on. I think I went across this gap here. I'll just explain to you what I did. I for no particular reason, I followed these wheels. You know, generally this early in the race, I'd probably let things go, but it's just always good to go with these sorts of moves. You can see we've really strung that just shows this guy's still coming through the corner now. So yeah, it's just sometimes it's just good to go with the move, just to start up the front, just to keep an eye on everyone and just to see what's going on. This is where everyone sort of goes crazy and starts attacking, and this is what happens in A-grade races. You know, it is constant attacking. You know, when the bunch comes back together, the boys go again. And when is the best time to attack, you might ask? Well, good question. The best time to attack is when everybody is hurting. Okay, so if you're hurting, that's a good time to attack. As long as you don't hurt too much and get spat out the arse. But it's a bit of a balancing act. But yeah, as I say, the best time to attack is when other people in the bunch are hurting, because particularly in the lower grades, when people attack, and they generally attack when everyone's fresh and they're feeling fresh, and that just, you can see I get squeezed here, but you know, that's bike racing, and we managed to hold it upright. So yeah, so don't attack when everyone's feeling fresh, because you're just going to get brought back into the bunch. If there's a little climb or something and you're in the race and everyone's sort of hurting, there's been an attack up the road and the bunch has brought those guys or girls back into the bunch, then that's a good time to attack. Like, slowly just roll off the front and see if you can sort of stay away. Yeah, look, in a nutshell, don't attack when people are feeling fresh. If you're feeling good, everyone else is feeling good. I don't know what that is on the right hand side there. Is it a drone or something? Hot air balloon? I don't know. UFO? Alright, I'm going to leave it here. Enjoy the music, and I'll catch up with you at the end. I think the last 4 laps, so the last 10 minutes on the rate. Oh shit, how good's this music though, seriously. But look, we're coming into the last 4 laps of this race. Unfortunately, the GoPro at the back here, I went over a bump and I didn't secure it properly, and it sort of tilted up slightly, so that's why you're getting the weird view at the back of the GoPro. So next time I'm just going to have to make sure I tighten that up a little bit. But look, if you've got any feedback for me in the comments, I'd love to hear some suggestions. If you want any specific tips, or you want these videos shorter or longer, or you want me to post the whole thing or half the thing or just the last 3 laps, I'd love to know. I love hearing what people think. I've recently been doing vlogs, which are just random chit chat, etc. But I think people like these sort of cycling tips videos. So let me know. Let me know in the comments on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like the videos, it sort of helps me out. It's all worth the effort in the end. I spend a lot of time and effort making these videos. So here we go. So there's 3 laps to go now. It is game on. Everyone gets serious, obviously, in the last few laps. And at this stage, from memory, there was 3 riders up the road. All Charter Mason guys. I'm just bringing it up here on Facebook now, but I think it was Ben Hill, Keagan Girdlestone, and can't remember the other one, but I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, so they were flying, the 3 of them working well together, and obviously very strong team, Charter Mason, so they were doing everything right. And you can see people are diving desperately to bring them back now. So little gaps open up there. I've jumped on the Total Rush Boys wheel, and I'm just thinking, please, bro, can you bring them back? Because I don't want to. So he's a strong lad, and just driving it. Fortunately, he brought that gap back together, which is awesome. Yeah, Josh Taylor was the other one in the group of 3 Charter Mason boys. So they're just up the road. They're about 20 to 30 seconds up the road now, and I think this is the last lap. I'm not 100%. You can see we're doing 47 k's an hour, 180 beats per minute. So I am almost at my max, slowly creeping up to 181. We're strung out. I'm really stoked that I'm close to the front here. Don't know how that happened, but I managed to stay up the front. And I knew that this would literally be single file all the way to the finish. Yeah, actually, this is the second last lap. So, driving it, boys, a single file. I knew that with 3 laps to go, right, you want to make sure you're at the front, because it's very hard from this point to make up places. All right, so I'm about 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 5th wheel with 3 guys up the road. That's a great spot to be, okay? Providing that they stay... The guys on the front keep driving it, okay? If this all suddenly, they sit up and it all comes back together, then you just get swamped, okay? So you just got to be smart. This is where you've got to be really smart if you want to stay close to the front. And you can see the boys sit up here, and that just sucks big time, right? Because then all of a sudden down the right-hand side, everyone sort of swamps us, and so you just got to keep moving forward. All right, so the boys are all a bit twitchy. There's Rico Rogers there in the black. He's a very, very fast sprinter. So I'm just having a mind blank on some of the other names, which is typical when you're recording a video. But this is game on now. This is, 300 meters to go. The last quarter coming up. We're flying here, 57 k's an hour. I mean, sometimes I can't even sprint faster than 60 k's an hour. You can see the boys dive down the right-hand side, coming into the last turn. Rico just pushed on the pedals there, coming into the turn, and then bang, everyone's just game on. Shannon Johnson down the left there in the Charter Mason kit. What I loved was this Pat Veg dude, man. He just accelerated straight past Rico Rogers. It was amazing. So I was really happy with that. I mean, I got a top 10 finish for me, an old mole, I was pretty stoked. So it was good result for the first crit back. But really fast boys, and good to see the young fellas up there as well. But look, I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you've got any feedback, again, as I say, make a comment in the YouTube comments, and I look forward to doing a few more of these videos over the coming weeks. Thanks, Jason, for knocking the camera there. I want, if anyone is racing with me and they see the camera tilted up like that, please tilt it back down for me. Jason Evans there on the left-hand side. So, yeah, good humans all round. Really enjoyed this race. All right, take care. Until next time, bye for now.